All right, everybody, we are live. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Luke Ponto channel, and welcome to a pretty interesting stream we're going to do tonight. Is the overlooked and underrated films of 2021. It's going to be a fun stream to talk about with you guys. Some movies that we think should be more talked about or that deserve more praise. So, so I brought on a good pal of mine. He's a really awesome content creator here on his channel, Alex, aka Fritzky, here on YouTube. What's going on, Alex? Happy to have you here, buddy.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, dude. I'm really happy to be here. I've been waiting to make a video of some sort with you for a while, so I'm ready.
All right, let's do it. And I left a link down below that goes to his channel, so go subscribe to him, go give him some love. He deserves it. And also hit the subscribe button for my channel as well, because also hit that notification bell. It really helps me get the content out there, and also hit the thumbs up as well. So, my friend, let's get into it. And before we start, do you have any movie that you thought was very overlooked from this year, like just to you personally?
Yeah, the biggest example that I want to get out of the way, and I'm sure we're gonna get into more, but the biggest one that I think was I just, okay, it's weird because I feel like there was so much hype around this film, but the reception was so split and divided. Um, and that film is Last Night in Soho. It's weird because I don't want to say I don't know if it's weird because I don't want to say when we're talking about underrated movies that I wouldn't say it's underrated because I feel like enough people have seen it, and I feel like when we use that term it means like I could be wrong, but whenever I hear that word, I feel like that means like not a lot of people got around to it, and it didn't get the rating that it deserved. I don't know if I would say that because, like I said, I feel like enough people had seen it, but I do feel like it definitely was not appreciated as much as I think it should have been. I It's weird because I think that so many people were expecting they were expecting a lot more out of it, and it's one of those things where I think just because with any original screenplay, you really have to, I don't know what it was that people were expecting, but you kind of have to go in with extremely little expectations, which nowadays are extremely hard and difficult in my opinion. But you really do have to suspend whatever expectations you do have, because when it comes to an original screenplay or an original film in general, you it's it's one of those things where it's an extremely creative idea, and we it's not going to be always what we want. It's going to be what the director wants. It's going to be what Edgar Wright wants, because he said about this film that he thinks that it came out like exactly how he wanted. And this is a movie that really dived, it's almost like we're taking a visual tour inside his psyche, inside his creative mind, and I think it's one of those things where it's like we really do have to suspend what it is that we may want out of a movie, especially when we're coming to something original like Last Night in Soho. And be more open-minded to, okay, we're gonna go see a movie made by this filmmaker, and let's see what he has to say and what original ideas he can bring to the table. And I feel like not enough people went in that way. They thought the movie was going to be something different. Again, I can't really explain. It's hard to explain what I think people thought it was going to be, but it just wasn't what they thought it was. But I went in extremely open-minded because I actually never saw any trailers for it. The most I knew was that it was a horror film. It was going to supposedly be a lot more serious than some of his other films that mix in a lot of comedy, such as Scott Pilgrim or the or Baby Driver, or I can't remember the name, but
Shaun of the Dead.
the trilogy,
The Cornetto trilogy.
Yes, yes, yes. I was blanking on the name. I
Yeah.
knew that it was going to be a lot more serious. I knew it had a good cast. And that's really all I knew about it. I knew nothing. When we went to go see Halloween Kills, me and my friend, I literally closed my eyes during the commercials, and I held like my hands against my ears because I wanted to know zip zada zilch about it, and I went in and not knowing jack about it ended up making me love it even more. Anyway, I've been blabbering on for a while, so what do you think?
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you about Last Night in Soho. Like, I did not get a chance to see this in theaters. I completely missed it in theaters, so I paid $20 to rent this on iTunes so I could watch it before the year was out, which is what I wanted to do.
Mhm.
So, and I did go in open minded, even though it was one of those films and I was like, oh my God, I need to see this. So I did go in with an open mind. I watched this film on my 32-inch TV and freaking fell in love with it. Like, this film is like a visual spectacle. Like, it knows exactly like what Edgar Wright's style is going for. He knows what he's doing,
Yeah,
especially when you go into the 1960s vibe of this movie that involves Sandy, which is played by Anya Taylor-Joy. Like, it just makes a lot of sense. Like,
yeah,
people would be there are going to be people that will be confused with the mirror stuff that happens in this movie. Like, but then if there's people like that do that, they're like, I don't get this. What's going on here? Well, she went back into the 1960s, so you basically kind of get the gist of like how the time period like flops around a little bit.
yeah. I feel like
So,
most people. Well, one thing I kind of want to chime in there is that I feel like most people at some point in the movie kind of something clicked that okay, there's somehow some way, because like I said, I didn't see the trailer, so when you know they're switching the scenes where with the mirror scenes like you said where they're switching back and forth between the main two female protagonists, um Anna Taylor Joy and Thomas and Mackenzie. I think those are the names, right?
yep.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Anyways, you know, at first I was like, what the actual hell am I looking at? Like, that's how I felt about it at first. Uh, but then, after a while, you're like, okay, somehow, some way, I feel like a a person with like some decent common sense can after a minute be like, okay, somehow some way they're coexisting within each other somehow, you know but we're not really told what's going on until and I'm not going to give away too much, but till later on, she straight up says that I'm in a dream state where I coexist with this person. Then finally later on it's outright said. But anyway, yeah, you are right. It may be a little confusing to some who maybe don't think as quick. But that's kind of how I definitely agree about that though.
Yeah, for sure. Like, it's gonna take a minute, like, to get used to, like, once you actually have them to encounter in the 1960s. So basically, they show up in the reflection, and you're like, "Am I watching the right movie here?" And then it's just like you go later on, and like, oh, like, it's one of those films like you really have to process like as you watch it, like to
Yeah.
actually to understand what's going on in the movie.
Hmm. Yeah, no, for sure. It's not like it. You either have to be like have your thinking cap on, or like sit tight until it's actually straight up told to you. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of things in this movie that are just not outright said, and you kind of have to figure out for yourself. And I like that. I think that's really creative. Also, another thing, I don't know. I want to know what you think about this. Kind of going back, piggybacking on what we were saying about you know about Edgar Wright's uh, style, shall we say. I've heard so many of the negative reviews, more on the negative side, say this is not an Edgar Wright film. This film, nothing like an Edgar Wright film. Well, my response, I don't know. I low key get kind of pissed off when I hear that because it's like, okay, who are you to say that this is not something Edgar Wright would do? Because it's not what he's previously made. Okay, you may be, it's one thing if you said, man, this was extremely different than Scott Pilgrim or, Baby Driver, Shaun of the Dead, yada, yada. But how are you to say that this is not something he'd normally do? I just don't know who are you to say that. You know what I mean? What do you think?
It's because they're not used to directors actually stepping out of their comfort box.
I guess
That's the problem.
Yeah,
Like,
they're not ready for when things switch. You know.
exactly. Like, they weren't like ready for like Denis Villeneuve's switch because apparently he was known for making a lot of like original projects before he delved into the science fiction genre with Arrival, Blade Runner 2049, and now Dune. So he made original films like Prisoners and Enemy and Sicario. So basically, you kind of get the gist of like where he kind of went with his original comfort zone to now his new comfort zone of making science fiction projects.
Yeah. And even
So
those, like, even though I know that, I know Dune was, unfortunately, I've yet to see it still. But what I can tell you is, even not having seen it, is even that movie is like, even though I would say the reception I've seen mostly good, I've also seen, like I said, I have seen mostly good from it. However, I know there are some people that outright do not like that movie at all. I know that and when they don't like it, they do not. And the people who do not like it, do not like it.
yeah,
At least that's what I've seen. I could be wrong and just have like seen like a couple of nasty reviews, but I don't know. That's just me.
yeah, totally get that, bro. And there are people that are going to nitpick Last Night in Soho by saying that it's repetitive in regards to like what Thomasin McKenzie's character goes through, like by seeing visions and then all of a sudden seeing murders from the 1960s. That's kind of the whole point. She was born with this gift that she can see stuff from the 1960s.
Yeah.
So I don't really see the point of saying that it's repetitive.
Wouldn't you at this point say that most horror movies, if you're one of those people, then okay, you can really say that about any horror movie. Oh, Nightmare on Elm Street is repetitive because when they fall asleep, one of them dies. Or, oh, Halloween's repetitive because, all these babysitters get killed. Okay, you come on now. Like, you can't say that about Soho and then go to one of the classics and The Thing, it gets repetitive because we all know that this alien is going to take over people's bodies and assimilate them. We're like, it's like, okay, whatever, man. I hate how people like, little bit of a paradox going on there with some people's takes, but
Exactly. And plus, that's like saying like when you go forward in the Halloween franchise that kills is repetitive because, well, it's not, because it's not just repeating the same formula. Michael Myers is killing people, not babysitters. He's killing people.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
And I mean, like, and how about not that we're going to get into too much detail about movies, about specific plot details, just in case people haven't seen them. But how about in Halloween 2018, he freaking there's a kid who gets killed.
there you go.
How about that? I bet most people didn't see that coming.
Yeah, you don't say. Like, even like nobody saw coming that like there's a scene in Halloween Kills that nobody sees coming, even though it was shown in the trailer. That scene where Michael Myers kills this old couple.
Oh yeah.
Like, it is shown in the trailer, but I still did not see that coming though, because
and then it's also kind of implied with the kids who are wearing the silver shamrock masks. Also shown in the trailer. I actually, again, Halloween Kills, same thing. I actually avoided the trailers for that one. And maybe we can talk about that. I don't know how much that's going to apply to this topic in general, but maybe we'll get back to Halloween Kills later on in the video. But anyway, side note I'll say about Halloween Kills. Once I did go back and look at the trailer, I thought the exact same thing. I was like, yeah, no, things are implied, like I said, like the silver shamrock people getting killed. But anyway, yeah. So what were you saying?
Yeah, so basically, like there's stuff that's shown in the trailer that you can't really expect to see coming, because if you see a trailer only like one time, you completely forget about it when you go in. So basically you kind of get the gist of like what the movie's going for. And I also should probably get in the chat. I've been ignoring the chat for 15 minutes now, but
Probably behind.
yeah. But Movies and Train Studios, a constant viewer here on my channel. How you doing, buddy? Alex Lopez, aka King Alex is awesome on Instagram. Please go follow him as well. He has a lot of great Funko Pops for his collection.
Another Alex.
Yep, 2 Alexes in here. Last Night in Soho is my favorite experience, tied with No Way Home this year.
I would probably say I think that's probably, I would say the same. I would agree with that for sure. I think theater experience wise, maybe I like Soho as a film more than, well, not maybe, I do like Soho more than No Way Home. But viewing experiences wise, like as far as like my fun / enjoyment level goes, definitely very similar. So yeah.
But if we're gonna talk about like film like as a whole, to me personally, I prefer Last Night in Soho over No Way Home.
Yeah, same. Mm-hmm.
And plus, Last Night in Soho is my favorite film of 2021. Like, it's been my favorite ever since I first saw it.
I think you're the only person I know that film also. Did you didn't make that? I mean, okay, I guess it's not really a secret because I know you have a list of it on Letterboxd. But I was gonna ask if you uploaded that top 20 favorite movies of all time video yet. But I think that's still scheduled, isn't it?
Yeah, it's scheduled for tomorrow. I'm doing that with my good buddy Zach Milne here on the Medium. So
okay, well, I won't give anything else away except for maybe one. But like I said, I guess it's not really a secret if you got a list of it on Letterboxd. But what I was gonna say was, I think you're the only person I know that also has Soho in their top 20. As of right, as it stands, it could change. We'll see. But as it stands, it is also in my top 20 of all time as well. Because it just, okay, you know what? Let's get through the chat first, and then I'll explain. Because knowing me, I'll say something and then just blabber.
Let's see. Alex says it. I'm sad it bombed at the box office, but Edgar Wright gave us cinema at its finest. I agree.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Movies and Train Studio says, I think personally that Venom Let There Be Carnage is a bit underrated. When it first came out, people liked it, but as time went on, I feel like there was a lot more hate toward the film. I personally really enjoy Venom Let There Be Carnage. I think it's better than the first one by a little bit. I can agree with you there. I think it's a little bit underrated in my opinion, personally. Mm-hmm. I had fun with it.
I've only seen. I still have yet to see Carnage. I've seen the first one, but I didn't see the Carnage film that came out this year.
I liked it. I bought it as soon as it came out to give it a chance, and I did enjoy it.
Yeah. Also, might I say, before we go on, just to make people aware, yeah, no, I am extreme. I was telling Luke priorhand, I'm extremely behind in 2021 releases. I've seen a decent bit, but the only movies I've really like mostly have gone out of my way to see that came out this year, most of them anyway, were the horror releases of this year. Everything else, mostly this year, I've taken time to either rewatch my favorite movies or venture out of my comfort zone and see older movies that I needed to cross off my bucket list. Anyway, let's keep going.
Yep. And let's see. Come on, Movies and Trains. You gotta see Last Night in Soho, bro. You gotta see it. And can we get a moment of silence for the hilarious Snoop Dogg, or let's say Snoop Dogg pronounced Denis Villeneuve during the nominations for the Golden Globes?
I don't think I've seen that clip.
I haven't seen it either, but I think that's actually pretty funny the way that he brought it up.
That makes me want to look it up eventually.
Yep. Candyman is a little underrated, and not a lot of people went to see it, but made a decent amount of money. I agree. That movie is very not underrated, but I kind of consider Candyman overlooked.
Yeah,
if I'm gonna be honest.
I feel like there's a big difference between overlooked, underappreciated versus underrated.
Yeah, we'll get to that there in a minute.
Yeah, that's a whole thing on its own.
Yep. Alex says French Dispatch, Spencer, and Last Night in Soho might be overlooked at the Oscars this year. Spencer will not be for Kristen Stewart's performance. I'll say that for sure.
No, yeah. French Dispatch, though, maybe. I don't think I've seen any They're starting to come out with what films are going to be the nominations, aren't they?
Yeah, they kind of started with that, but we already have like one that's already taken the lead, which I don't think that even deserves to win
Oh yeah,
Best Picture.
you got to tell me about that later on.
We'll talk about the Power of the Dog later. I'll say that right now. We'll talk about that later.
Okay, sounds good.
And Denis Villeneuve. That's how Snoop Dogg pronounced it.
That's funny.
Ugh. Okay, I
It
need to
is a
keep.
hard name to pronounce, I will say, from first glance.
But yeah, but it's Denis Villeneuve, like as I heard from Chris Stuckman here on the Medium.
Sometimes if I see like someone who has a really hard to pronounce last name and I don't want to butcher it, what I'll do is I'll look up a YouTube video of them going to an interview or something, and they'll always like introduce the guest, and then I'll hear how it's properly pronounced, and that's how I find out.
There you go. And Alex Lopez says that Power of the Dog could be a huge contender at the Oscars. It's going to be because it's in the leaderboard. Like, it's dominating the award season right now. Like, over Dune and Licorice Pizza. I'm like, come on. You can't really dominate over Dune. Like, even though I know Alex still in here still has not seen it. But just saying, though, when you have something with a movie with Benedict Cumberbatch, it should be great. But when you're focused on too much of its characters, that's where it falls apart for me.
Did you enjoy the movie?
I did, but it doesn't really tell much of its story. It's just focused on its characters, and that's pretty much it.
I've heard it's very world building and atmosphere. Well, build it like yeah, world building focused. That's what I heard.
Yeah, I don't want that from a film. I want like to actually focus on with its characters and also telling the story at the same time, not just focusing on all of its characters and just being like, hey, character, like that.
Yeah, yeah, I can get behind that. I felt like that about Spirited Away. Like it's I feel like it does at least in my opinion, does a great job of making an extremely creative and original world full of all kinds of like really cool to look at and cool to get to know characters. But it also has a really our protagonist has a really cool story, and it's a cool adventure to get invested in. But that's just me.
Yep. I definitely get what you're saying right there. I remember 1 month ago, everyone says Licorice Pizza is an amazing film, but now people finds issues with the film. More on this audience side, though. I haven't seen it, but I definitely do want to give it a chance, though, because I know it's being contender for the Oscars this year. So, oops. But one that I find very overlooked because it didn't make the box office like it should have, I'm actually going to go with the Suicide Squad.
All right. I'm down to talk Suicide Squad. I love that movie.
Of course, man. It's one of my favorites of all time as well. Like, again, that's kind of a spoiler, but hey, I don't care.
Who cares, dude? Honestly, it's not a secret. You know what I mean?
I mean, I have them on Letterboxd, so what's really the secret to talk about?
Hey, how about this? That the video you're gonna make is just more dedicated to giving more in-depth thoughts rather than, because right now we're kind of just mentioning, oh yeah, that was my favorite. Like, we're not really saying, all right, here's my little mini review for it. Because I feel like it all like, my favorite films videos, like everyone always like, goes ahead and like gives like a mini tiny, like even if it's not long, just like a mini review of the film, like, and give their thoughts. But I feel like, it's right now though we're kind of just mentioning and stuff, juggling things in the air. I mean, how many movies have we mentioned at this point?
We've already mentioned like 3 right now. Like we mentioned Last Night in Soho. We did Halloween Kills.
I'm not even talking about movies we focused on. I'm just talking about names. Like films we've mentioned. Scott Pilgrim, all the Halloween films.
Power of the Dog.
Yeah. We're kind of just like tossing names in the air.
But yeah, definitely. But we got to talk a little bit about the Suicide Squad and why more people really should have gone out of their way to see it in theaters.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I agree.
But first off, for anything, do I need any introduction right now?
Sadly I was being a bit of a I was kind of doing the world's stupidest decision and saving money at the time, so I just went ahead and got the regular copy. Um, yeah, no, the second I saw it at my, I work at Target. The second I saw it, our entertainment vendors put up a giant booth in the middle of the main walkway for the Suicide Squad. I was like, mine. Didn't even hesitate.
I had to go out of my way to get this as soon as it came out. Like I was working during that time, so like I during my lunch hour, I ran out to Walmart to go get it. The Suicide
Oh
Squad.
my
I
god,
was like,
that's really dedicated to going dirt. Couldn't even wait till after work.
nope, I couldn't. Like
That is so funny.
I just couldn't, man. That's pretty much what I do. Like during my lunch hours, I just go out to Walmart whenever there's a new movie out. I just go ahead and just get it right away. I don't have to wait till after work.
Yeah.
That truly shows you I'm a dedicated physical media collector. So
Yeah. See,
yep.
I've had a hard time with my media collecting this year. Like last year I was going all out. This year though I've kind of just now that I'm starting to get kind of a little more independent on my spending. I've kind of had to conserve a little bit, but I still live with my parents, so most of the money I make goes towards saving slash spending. But oh my gosh, not that we're gonna get into it too much, but I'll just mention it. Like, oh my gosh, like I probably spent almost $50 like just filling up my tiny little Jetta, which that kind of $50 used to be two fill-ups, and now that's one. Which, like I said, we're not going to get into that. That's not what we're here for. But anyway, carrying on. So were we still talking about Suicide Squad?
Yes.
Okay.
So one of my favorite things about the Suicide Squad is that it's fun. Like it knows how much fun it is. It's bombastic, and it's R-rated. So, but the thing was like why it bombed at the box office is due to either people watching on HBO Max or thinking that it was just going to be as bad as the last Suicide Squad that we got.
There were a lot of people worried about that. Yeah.
I was excited nonetheless. If I'm going to be completely honest, I was very excited to see the Suicide Squad after watching those trailers multiple times. Even though I kind of went in open-minded after seeing those trailers so many times, just watching them on YouTube, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I went in with an open mind, fell in love with the Suicide Squad. It is for sure like I'm just gonna go out and say this. This is James Gunn's best movie.
Oh, it is. It is.
I said it. For anybody that prefers Guardians of the Galaxy, that's fine, but the Suicide Squad is 100% better.
Yeah, we know where you're coming from, and you're not, it's to each their own. No one's right or wrong at the end of the day. But I agree. I think for me personally, Suicide Squad just blows the Guardians of the Galaxy films out of the park.
Yep. It even blows like his first movie, Slither, out of the water.
Yeah, I'm gonna be completely honest. I didn't even know that he made that until the Suicide Squad came out, and I was like, I wonder what else he's done. And then I was like, oh my gosh, he did Slither. I totally remember this movie.
Slither is so mean spirited, but James Gunn knows how to do it so well. Like in regards to being mean spirited.
What I gotta say about James Gunn is that he's just one of those directors where I just love how distinctive his style is that he brings to his movies. I recently just watched. I just recently yesterday on Christmas rewatched my second favorite film of all time. Which where is it? There, Jack's head's right there. The Nightmare Before Christmas. It's my second favorite film of all time. Favorite animated film of all time. Disney film of all time. Holiday film of all time. You name it. But what I was saying, my point is why that ties in is because I think that Tim Burton just has an extremely distinctive art style that you see any film that he's either directed or has had involvement in, such as, you know, The Nightmare Before Christmas. And you can tell that, okay, you know, he definitely had he had some involvement in this project. And I feel like that there's so many other directors like that, you know, Tarantino, you see any Tarantino movie and you know it's him, you know. You know, and I feel like James Gunn is again one of those directors where his raunchy comedy, you know, there's how about, okay, better way to word it, there's so many elements that are, you know, that he brings despite the movie being different, the same elements transfer over. Like, he's very passionate about his soundtracks, for one. I mean, you know, the Guardians of the Galaxy have awesome soundtracks. The Suicide Squad has an awesome soundtrack. You know, that's just to name one. The raunchy comedy, again, oh my gosh, do we even need to get into how, I mean, you know, with Guardians of the Galaxy, it's definitely, I would say before Spider-Man came out, or before the home trilogy, I should say, came out for Spider-Man, I think the Guardians of the Galaxy films were the most, you know, comedy oriented films of the MCU prior hand. And also, you know, freaking Rocket Raccoon, Star Lord, Drax just means so like wild and over the top. And then in Suicide Squad, oh my gosh, it's even more amplified, the comedy. You know what I mean? I would say that's the comedy is one of the hugest differences between the Suicide Squad 2021 and Suicide Squad, what, 2016, 2017?
2016.
2016. Okay. Yeah, that's one of the biggest differences, is the comedy. You know, the comedy
Like
just this is a comic book film, or no, this is a comedy film first, I would say, and that, well, maybe, I don't know about first, but it's a comic book comedy film for sure. It is an outright comedy.
It is for sure an outright comedy. There's a lot of jokes that are thrown into the mix, especially when you have this bickering between Bloodsport and Peacemaker, which are
I love that part.
Those two bickering is just like picture perfection to me. Like, especially like when they're just basically showing off to each other, like who can kill better. It's like,
I know.
Oh, it's just like, okay, you two can always argue. Like, it's perfectly done.
What was the one line Peacemaker said? Don't show off, like, whatever, unless it's dope.
Whatever they
yes.
Unless what they're showing off is dope as fuck.
Dude, I loved that was so
freaking John Cena as the Peacemaker. Perfect casting, if I ever say so myself. Cannot wait for that show.
Oh yes. Oh, you know what's funny? I actually not that what's funny is I'm not into WWE at all. And when I say not at all, I mean John Cena is really the only wrestler I can name. But what's so funny is that not very long after I saw the Suicide Squad, my friend, who's a huge nerd about it, really he really wanted to take me to this out in Phoenix at the stadium where the Suns play. There was an event going on there for WWE, and he's a huge nerd about it and stuff. And he goes, dude, you have to come to the event. I'm like, yeah, I don't really know about WWE that much. I don't know anyone's names or anything like that. And he goes, yeah, but even if you don't, you're still gonna have a blast. Just trust me. And I say, okay. I look at, he bought freaking, like, he spent hundreds of dollars on just 2 seats. Like, we were in the 4th row, and I was like, oh my gosh. And then, but you know what's funny? What I didn't expect, though, is we saw freaking John Cena, like, in person, literally not long after we had just gotten out of the theater for the Suicide Squad. Like, it wasn't that big of a, that many of a month's difference, to be honest. But anyway, no, yeah, that was so cool to see the movie, and then not long after see John Cena in person. And of course, in the crowd there were people who had Peacemaker signs and stuff, like, let's go Peacemaker, we want Peacemaker, and it had big blow-ups of his face and stuff. Oh my gosh, that was so awesome. Good time to go to a wrestling event right after that movie came out, for sure.
I agree. I really wish I could have gone to a wrestling event during that time. I'd just be like, just see John Cena, just be like, "Hey, it's Peacemaker. How you doing?"
Oh my gosh, one of the wrestlers in the I can't name. I don't, again, I don't know anyone's names, but there was this one guy who you know how they always like throw beef and shade at each other, like back and forth, like the drama is just hilarious. There was this one there was this one guy, he was saying, and you think you're all that just because you starred in a stupid little nerdy superhero movie. I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome, dude.
Oh man.
Oh.
And hopefully those WWE kiddies do not sneak into the Suicide Squad. I'll say that right now.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Because if you,
this is a very rated R movie.
for sure.
I regret it. I mean, it's nothing she hasn't heard or seen before, but I low key at the scene where Bloodsport and his daughter are arguing in the jail cell when she came during visiting hours because she got in trouble. During that scene where they're saying "F you," no, "F you," "F you too," like all of that, I was like, my mom is gonna kill me once she figures out how excessively vulgar this movie is, and it only got worse. That's the funniest part. That was just like not even touching the tip of the iceberg of how freaking rated R this movie is.
Yeah, it is so.
Like, oh man.
It is so rated R, dude.
Yeah, honestly. And like I said, like, you know, she's almost 14. She's in middle school. It's nothing she hasn't heard or seen before and other stuff. You know, she's seen other movies I would say are very rated R, such as like Pulp Fiction. But, you know, at the same time, it's like my guilty conscience was just kicking in. I was like, oh no.
Oh no.
I was like, wait till she tells my mom about how like rated R this movie is. And man, my mom was not. What's funny is I saw it once in theaters, and then I didn't know when's the next time I could get my parents to go to the theater next. So we watched it on HBO Max later, which I know you wanted to talk about. I know the whole point of the conversation was to talk about why people should have seen it in theaters and not stream it first, which we can get into next because we kind of been dodging that for a minute. But what I was going to say was with the HBO Max, it was kind of cool though. But I did want to support it in theaters first, just because, you know, we haven't, in the grand scheme of things, we haven't been like full force back to the theaters for that long, you know, after a whole year of nothing. So it's
exactly.
Like, so yeah, it's like, this is still like, even though it's been going on for a little bit, in the grand scheme of things, like there's, you know, it was just like important to me that I still supported the theaters and kept them in business and stuff. So anyway, but I was happy to show my parents the film the next not long later. Funny enough, my mom really enjoyed it, just because she gets a little annoyed with raunchy humor when my little sister's around, but when it's just me and her, like, we'll watch stuff like South Park and stuff. But my dad, on the other hand, what's just so funny is he's very, very selective and picky about his comedies. There's just a very select few that he actually likes. He is not a person to watch like overly stupid movies such as like Superbad and, you know, films like that, 21 Jump Street.
Or even like a Hot Rod.
Yeah,
for that matter.
Not for him at all. He hates knowingly stupid comedies, you know. And that's the thing about this movie is like, yeah, the humor, while I would say it is really brilliant, it's in a lot of aspects, it is also very knowingly stupid in a lot of other things too. But it kind of takes pride in that, and that's what I like about it. But he actually, believe it or not, he got and what's even more funny is he hates comic book films. And I mean, I am where I stand on that is I'm a little iffy. I don't think I hate how big blockbuster franchises such as the and not that I don't like films from them, but I don't like the fact that one personal take of mine is I don't like the fact that big franchises such as the MCU or Star Wars are what's dominating the industry right now. I think I really want it to be like the 90s again, where these small indie films like, like Pulp Fiction or Reservoir Dogs are the talk of the town.
Fight Club.
Or Fight Club. I want the days of those again, Anyway, that's just my take. And like I said, I mean, A New Hope is in my top 20 of all time. Empire Strikes Back at one point was my favorite movie at one point. But, like I said, I'm not saying that I don't like films from the franchises, but I think that kind of hype and money should be going towards other things. And that's why A24 is a blessing. Yeah, what I will say, though, is what's funny is that my dad, though, back to what I was saying, hates comic book films. I mean, he will like roll his eyes if you ask if the couple times like me and my sister wanted to say, oh, let's put on Infinity War. My dad like rolls his eyes like, but he really enjoyed the 2016 Suicide Squad, believe it or not. He really did. I'm one of the minority, or I'm part of the minority that actually liked both. I think this one's better than the 2016 one, but I actually do enjoy both. I know the last movie wasn't perfect. I know there was a lot of mistakes. I know that Jared Leto's acting sucks. I'm very well aware of that. But what I will say, though, is, like I said, I think this one was a lot better. But what's funny, though, is my dad disagrees. He actually really likes the serious tone of the other movie, believe it or not. He also really likes I think part of it also was he liked the lineup better in the last movie. Which I will say, what would you think if they swapped? Because I know Will Smith walked out of, any more of his role as Deadshot, but what would you think if, and don't get me wrong, Bloodsport was a great character. The performance was great and all, but if it was Will Smith as Deadshot instead, I think this would be like, I would have loved this movie even more than I already do. That's just my take. What do you think about that?
To me, if they went with Deadshot, I probably wouldn't like it as much as I do currently. But them adding Bloodsport, like actually adding a new character, makes it all the better to me. Like because basically that's what this movie is, adding new characters that we didn't see in the previous film, and also bringing back some previous characters, not just for fans, but that are also part of the comics, like Harley Quinn. Like, you can't really do a Suicide Squad movie without Harley Quinn.
No, you can't. You can't.
Or
it wouldn't be. It would feel very wrong.
It feel out of place, more like.
Yeah. But no, yeah. Anyway, like I was saying, yeah, no. He actually, I think he liked the lineup. He loved Deadshot. He loved Diablo. Which I do low key miss those characters. I thought they were some of the best parts of the last movie. But anyways, I think he just didn't like how, again, it's just the fact that he doesn't really like comic book movies in general. And it was also the fact that he just does not like knowingly stupid stuff. But that was also, I think, the charm of this movie, because we brought on characters who, like the Polka Dot Man, who are, knowingly like when you look at if you look up on Google right now, who are some of the stupidest villains ever created, who are the most like, worst villains like ever created, whatever, Polka Dot Man is always in the list. So
TDK would be another one. TDK
as well, yeah. So
he has one of the most useless powers you can ever imagine. Just having his arms spread apart and then just go, and then boop, boop,
I know.
boop,
And
boop,
Harley
boop,
Quinn
boop,
was all confused. She was like, TDK stands for the Detachable King.
TDK is the Detachable Kid?
But yeah, it was like, I think, and then I think he had a little bit of in the heartfelt moments. He did like King Shark, like in the scene with the aquarium, but
I loved it. I
I,
loved
I
King Shark.
I Shark to death. But at the same time, though, he was like, my dad was like, "What the hell is this?" And he loves Sylvester Stallone, so that's the funniest part. I think that's the only reason like he was somewhat open minded about King Shark. Anyway, the point I'm trying to get at is that or how about Peacemaker? There's literally freaking scenes of John Cena running around in his underwear. Let's like, or in tight collared shirts that don't that are like they look almost like they're one size too small. My dad is just he just is not a fan of knowingly stupid things. But that's again what I like about this movie is like it took so many over the top characters like Peacemaker. I had never heard of Peacemaker until this movie because I'm just not really a comic book reader, but I was glad that I was like, wow, this is actually a really freaking cool character. Like his costume is very off the wall, but I was like, wow, I actually low key I even looked at getting the there's about the Peacemaker graphic novel on Amazon. I thought about getting it. I still might eventually, but I was like, yeah no, this and then or how about the kaiju? Like I never heard about the villain.
Starro.
Yes, Starro the Conqueror. I had never heard of that villain until this movie. And I was like, I even had to look up, is this a real thing? Like, is this actually serious? I was like, I had never heard of this before. Is this actually a real thing? No, everything in this movie is real.
That's like saying like you didn't know that, or saying like that you didn't know that Ratcatcher 2 was a character in the story, but when you get into this, like you actually feel for her character and what she went through in the like for years after she lost her father.
Yeah, exactly.
So
also are you guys go ahead?
And which, by the way, her father was played by the one and only Taika Waititi.
Hell yeah.
I'm a rule breaker. I'm a rattle snaker. What's that from?
Oh gosh, that's blanking me. Oh no, I'm gonna get in trouble for this one.
Movies and Trains would be so mad at you, dude.
Yes, I know. I'm gonna have a mob outside my house after this. Oh no.
It's Free Guy.
No, man.
Oh my god! I'm not gonna blame you though, man. It was blanking on you, so I'm not gonna blame you.
Yeah, no, my thinking cap is just not on today. This is like, even though it's Monday, this is like today is like my or wait, is it Monday or Sunday?
It's Sunday.
Sunday, okay. So man, my thinking cap's really not on. Anyway, it's like, yeah, no, today is kind of like my Friday. I have Monday and Tuesday off, so it's like after like just working, except for having Christmas off, which I'm not even really gonna count that. But anyway, it's like, yeah, before that though, working like 6 days straight, my mind is just like still kind of screwed. But anyway, back to what I was saying though. I like how with these over the top characters, again, it's extremely, or Weasel, another good example.
Weasel.
They're knowingly really wild, ideas, but that's what I liked about it, is that he found characters like the Polka Dot Man and served them justice and made them like pretty cool, like characters to watch, and
especially that one scene of the like when they're in the helicopter going to the Corner Maltese beach, when Pete Davidson's Blackguard is like, "Hey, is this like a dog?" Like,
yeah,
because he heard because he heard like
yeah,
he's like, "Hey, is this like a dog?" Wait, a dog? What kind of dog do you think it is, mate?
And then
I don't know. I'm not familiar with all the breeds.
Is that a werewolf? I've always wanted to be one.
I want to be a werewolf forever.
Yeah, oh my gosh, yes.
Dude, Harley Quinn had me dead like on the floor, dude. That was so freaking funny.
Also, dude, will there ever? I don't know if there will ever be another actress that can amount to Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn.
I agree.
I just think it's one of those things where I really just okay. I was okay with when I found out. We're not even going to talk about Jared Leto, but we're going to skip over him. He doesn't exist. But I was actually okay with when they announced that Joaquin Phoenix was going to be the next. Well, okay, Jared Leto was never going to be the main focus, or the next like revolution. Well, according to the Ayer cut, I guess that says otherwise. But anyway, what I was going to say was that he wasn't going to be as big scaled as say like as Heath Ledger. But I was actually okay when they said that Joaquin Phoenix was coming along because I knew that it was going to be its own thing. It was going to be separate from what we were already used to. But I know that there were a lot of people who were extremely nervous just because Heath Ledger, like for many people, is like, one of their favorite performances, in The Dark Knight is one of their favorite performances of all time. So I kind of get that. And that's how I would feel if someone said they were going to recast Harley Quinn. I would be so damn nervous. I'm just going to say that, because even though I would say the Suicide Squad has gotten the best reception out of the 3 movies that we've seen her in, I would say for sure, overall, in my opinion. But I think almost everyone can agree that even though the first Suicide Squad, mostly bad reception, Birds of Prey, a little better, but still mixed. And then with this one, the Suicide Squad, I think most people can agree that Margot Robbie is one of the best things about the movie. And I still stand by that. That no matter, out of all these 3, one thing they have in common is one of the best things about all 3 of them is Margot Robbie. She brings the exact same performance each and every time.
I agree for sure. And see, another one I actually did kind of want to talk about this in this video, despite being a very mixed movie. Like it's a very polarizing movie. A lot of people either loved it or despised it. I'm one of the people that's actually in the middle on this movie. Old.
Okay, yeah, no, I want to hear about that because once I heard I mean, I know a few people who like it, but I know that it does have a lot of bad reception, so I want to hear what you think.
I liked it actually. I saw it in theaters with my best friend, and I didn't really have a whole lot to really complain about with the movie. Like, it has great performances, mostly by Alex Wolff and Thomasin McKenzie. In my opinion, Rufus Sewell really got on my nerves with the movie, because out of nowhere, he's a guy that literally mentions that he has dementia, out of nowhere, and I'm just like,
it's just out of place or whatever.
Yeah, it just felt so off to me. I was like, I think M. Night Shyamalan should have rewrote that part. And also, there were times where the direction felt a little bit off to me, like where Shyamalan was just doing a lot of these circle shots, and I was just like, okay, bro, we get it, you're great. But
we get it. We know that you are good with the camera.
Yep. But overall, I liked it. It was good. It has a good concept added to it as well. It has some good vibes for me to actually really feel like there's chills with the movie, especially the scene when they're in the where Wolf and Mackenzie are in this little cave that's on the beach. It gives me a lot of Castaway and Shutter Island vibes because Castaway of its of its setting, because it takes place on a beach, and Shutter Island because it actually is very trippy. Old is actually a really trippy movie, because you have to really get used to what's going on in the film. So that's why I kind of say that Old is trippy. But I enjoyed Old for the most part. I don't get the hate for the movie at all. I don't get it.
Yeah. Is it one of those things where you're like, yeah, it's not one of the best things ever made or anything, but it was a pretty fun watch?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I even bought the movie on 4K as soon as it came out because I'm one of the few people that really enjoyed it. I'm not just one of those people that just like hated it for no reason just because of like, Shyamalan's previous track record or, like the way that or like how he should have done his twists. Like
Hmm.
I don't judge him for that. Like I judge a film on the way it's structured.
Yeah.
Like
Also, might I say though that I feel like the plot twists are like usually one of the best parts about his movies. I don't know. I feel like they're just. I feel like they're like even those I know they can be hit or miss. I feel like that you definitely most times don't see them coming. Most keyword most.
yeah, most.
He is very good at that and with a good plot twist means a good writer, and I know and his stories are always are for the most part pretty well written, so
They're different most of the time. They're actually different.
yeah.
Like they're not like your usual type of cinema, which is actually something that I like about Shyamalan
No, they're
is
not.
that he's not so typical. Like he just does his own thing.
I
Like
saw yeah, that reminds me, I saw this year, I saw Unbreakable for the first time. um yeah, no, it was anything but your average superhero origin story, and I really liked that. That was cool.
yeah, exactly. And let's see another one that I want to talk about that I I don't think enough people are really giving enough praise. Like I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Mortal Kombat.
I met dude that movie. I really meant to see it when it came out, and I feel like a lot the reception wasn't that great from a lot of people. But I've actually low key like have slowly been hearing people say, "Oh, what do you think is like your favorite video game adaptation?" And I'm starting to hear a lot of people say that movie.
Yeah, but it's not mine personally. It's up there with Detective Pikachu and Sonic the Hedgehog for me
Mhm.
personally. Like it's up there for sure. It's definitely top three.
Yeah.
But for me personally, I had a blast seeing Mortal Kombat in theaters. It was the first film that I saw in theaters this year. Like it got me back to really going back to the movie theaters and actually start going through the actual cinematic experience.
Yeah.
So for that reason, like that's the reason why I hold Mortal Kombat in more of a higher standard than most people do. So I always had so much fun, and I recently rewatched it with Tyler, aka Mind of a Nerd, on Instagram. Please go follow that guy. He deserves your love and support. He has honest reviews. I mean, and also, like we watched this film and we had so much fun watching it. Like I even raised up my score. Like when we rewatched this, I had originally had this at a 3.5. I raised it up to a 4
Oh, really?
because it's just that fun. Like it knows exactly what it is.
Mhm.
That's
Self-aware.
Yes, it's self-aware of its source material. Like it pays good respect to its source material of the video games. And speaking of that, I even recently got Mortal Kombat 4 for the Nintendo 64 for Christmas from my grandparents.
You have an N64? That's so cool.
I know, I'm retro. I'm more of a retro gamer than most of my friends.
That's pretty awesome.
I played that a little bit on Christmas Eve night when I came back home. I played it for a little bit and I had a blast. I played a Scorpion and Sub Zero like in arcade mode.
Is that the first
Just
one?
what?
Is that the first game?
No, it's I said Mortal Kombat 4.
Oh, Mortal Kombat 4. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm not too familiar with the previous games. My like a lot of people, sadly, my first game was I say okay, shouldn't say sadly because it's a good game, but sadly as in I wasn't into it earlier was Mortal Kombat X was my first Mortal Kombat game that I played.
Yeah, and I couldn't really get behind the way that this movie told the story. Like I
That's the
couldn't get
issue.
behind that. That's my biggest issue with Mortal Kombat is the way that it tells the film's story.
Hmm.
I couldn't get behind that. But and now let's get into a real underrated gem. That's Halloween Kills.
Oh, I'd love to talk about that one.
So out of all people I saw this in theaters with, I saw it in theaters with my mom because she actually really does like the Halloween movies. I've watched a couple of them with her, and we went to a Cinemark in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, to check out Halloween Kills, is because it wasn't really playing anywhere like 30 minutes away from my house. We went there at noon to see it, so They showed like 7 trailers, which is the most amount of trailers I've ever seen in a theater. Like
That's
they
a
showed
lot, yeah.
Scream, they showed King Richard, they showed Eternals, they showed Resident Evil: Welcome to Raccoon City. Ugh.
I
And
would say that's probably like what, like 15-ish minutes, maybe a little more, maybe a little less worth of trailers. That's a lot.
they even showed The Black Phone, the movie that was supposed to be coming out in February of 2022, but now they pushed it back, and I'm like, really? Come
I wonder
on.
why is that getting pushed back?
I
COVID?
don't know. Screw Universal, dude. Screw them. Like, because all you really have on February 4th is Moonfall and Jackass Forever. That's all you even have.
Yeah,
Which
for
I'm more
sure.
down to see Jackass, if you ask me. I'm more down to see Jackass.
I haven't seen Jackass in so long, dude. I need to rewatch that.
Dude, like, if you had any physical copies of the Jackass movies, just pop them in anytime you want, because you don't really have to pay attention to them.
No, they're very turn your brain off and be on your phone while you watch kind of a movie for sure.
And there are times that you really want to pay attention, like
Yeah,
with
exactly.
some of the biggest stunts of the film, like, like the high five or the Toro Totter,
Mhm.
anything like that, or even like golf carts or anything like that, or
Yeah,
golf course air horn.
yeah.
Like those are the
Anyway,
stunts.
or no, keep going.
Yeah. But anyways, I also, let's see, I'm trying to remember what else I saw for that. Scream 5. I also saw, I think, oh yeah, I already pointed out Scream 5. Um, oh yeah, I also did see that final trailer for Last Night in Soho. I almost wanted to scream yes when they showed that trailer, because I was like so excited to finally see that trailer for the first time in the theater.
That
Man,
would be cool to see in theater. Yeah.
I my mom even said it looked interesting, but I had to watch it at home since because it wasn't quite playing anywhere near me, even though it was playing like an hour away from my house.
Yeah.
I did really want to go see it, but apparently one of my friends was busy and he couldn't really find a good time to schedule it. So I was like, all
Yeah.
right, fine, I'll watch it at home.
Yeah. I know
But
there was what's funny about that trailer is I when I went to go see Halloween Kills on opening day with my friend, which I'll talk about in a second. But when I went, the Soho trailer played, and I closed my eyes, and I was like, don't tell me nothing, I was like trying to
and then
I
and
tried
then
so hard not to get spoiled, and my friend was like, why do you care so much? And I said, this is a new horror movie coming out. I've been looking forward to this since I heard about it. And he goes, and I know the trailer. I watched it later, and I know that trailer takes a minute, like, to show any horror-esque elements. And he's like, how is this a horror movie? And then all of a sudden, I hear a girl scream, and he goes, oh.
there is definitely scary moments in Last Night in Soho, especially the visions that Thomas and Mackenzie has in the 1960s. Those were definitely scary.
Yeah. I would
But
also say the whole third act was pretty creepy. I don't know if how, like, me personally, it wasn't, as far as the scare factor goes, as much as I love the film, um scare factor wise, not super high for me, just because there's only been 2 horror movies ever that have really, like, truly screwed me up. But I think I've just, like, built such a hard stone face for horror now. But I still knowingly know though that the tension was really freaking well done in that movie. Anyway, but we already talked about that. We got to talk about Halloween Kills.
yes, so this will be kind of a spoiler talk about Halloween Kills. So if you guys have not seen it, please turn this video off and come back after you've seen it. But one thing I gotta praise Halloween Kills for is obviously the kills.
Lives
The
up to
kills
the
are
name.
great in this movie. Like, my favorite kill of the entire movie was when Michael Myers was massacring the firefighters at the beginning of the movie.
I love that scene. Yeah, that was a cool part. Yeah.
I mean, and it wasn't like overly scary. Like, it was just like, it was just shocking. Like it wasn't just like thinking like you just need to really hide under your blanket or something like that. Like something like The Ring. But with
Yeah, no, the
this,
whole time you just make a face.
you're like,
You're
oh
like,
god. and you think it's like you're watching this in 3D, and then you're like, "Oh God, Michael Myers is now gonna kill me."
I wish I saw it in 3D. That would be so cool.
I wish it was playing 3D. That'd actually be kind of nice.
It would, yeah. That
But
would be wild.
yeah, I did not watch this on Peacock. I supported this film in theaters. I wanted to support this film in theaters because I wanted to go see it on opening weekend. And I had a total blast with it. Start to finish, I had a blast.
Mm-hmm.
And on my Letterboxd rating for Halloween Kills, I gave it a 4 out of 5.
Nice. I actually, what's funny is I actually significantly liked the movie more on my second watch personally. Which, oh, by the way, I meant to say this earlier about when we were talking about the theater experience. Recommendation for anyone who can. If you're not in high school, if you're out of high school, or if you're doing online school or whatever, if you don't attend public in-person high school, here's what you have to do. If you want to see a horror movie in the theater, you have, and I mean have, to do it in the middle of the day when there's no, or the earliest showtime possible, better yet, when there are no freaking kids. Because that was my mistake for when I saw The Conjuring 3. Oh my God, it was horrible. The theater experience was the worst theater experience I have ever had to date. It was awful. I mean, I made the mistake of going on the Friday opening weekend at 7 o'clock at night at the mall. How well do you think
no.
that? How well do you think that went? It was like it was just full of chittery, chattery, freaking teenagers who just being so freaking immature the entire time, and like every time it would end. It was funny at first, but it got annoying later. Like there would be times in the movie where things would be kind of quiet, and it's knowing the formula of the Conjuring films, it's a jump scare buildup, and some guy would just go and it was it was funny at first, but after a while it was like, dude, come on, I'm trying to watch the damn movie.
That's why I skipped theaters on Conjuring 3. I rented it from iTunes, and I liked it enough that I bought the Blu-ray for Conjuring 3. Now, I'll get this out of the way. It's not perfect by any means. Not perfect.
No.
There are issues with it, but it was still fine for what it was, but it could have been so much better.
I thought it was fine. I think I'm just gonna be honest. I think not having James Wan as the director was a mistake, honestly.
And having the guy that freaking brought you Curse of La Llorona, that piece of garbage.
That is probably, I'm gonna be honest, that is my least favorite Conjuring film. I like Annabelle 1 more than I like La Llorona. I would be honest. And Annabelle 1 isn't anything good at all.
Not good either, but The Nun is my least favorite Conjuring movie. That's my least favorite. Yep. I could not get behind that movie. Oh my God,
I completely forgot. Okay, you know what? I dislike The Nun so much, I forgot it even existed. That is my least favorite one. Oh my God, dude. No, okay, you know that's a bad movie if my brain shut it out from existence. That is the worst. You are right. That is the worst one. La Llorona is a masterpiece compared to freaking The Nun. The Nun is awful.
Yep, for sure. And let's get a little bit back to Halloween Kills. We don't want to talk about Conjuring. We're going to talk about some Halloween. Yes. Michael Myers massacring the crap out of people. Even the scene when Michael Myers kills these people in a car. That scene I found kind of shocking. It wasn't super shocking because the tension wasn't really all there.
Are you talking about when they're shooting at him and stuff?
No, it's not the very end of the movie where they're legitimately beating the crap out of this guy.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about the scene where they're by the playground and.
Yes, that's the scene. There you go.
Oh, is it? Okay. You know what though?
Where there's this black couple that's dressed up like doctors.
Oh, okay. No, okay. So the scene with the what's her name? the girl who grew up is Annie, I think. Is it?
I
Is it
think so.
Annie?
I don't know.
I think it's Annie. Anyway, so the little girl who grows up, I think her name is Annie. Don't butcher me if I'm wrong, but the girl returning from the original movie. So I thought it was so okay. My dad is a huge gun buff, and he when I watched that scene, it is so laughably bad how horrible they handled the firearms in that movie and how much they don't know what the hell they're doing. And so I was like, when I watched that movie with my friend, I eventually saw it with my dad, and my dad was like trying not to laugh. But when I was watching this movie for the first time with my friend, I was just like, oh my God, my dad is just gonna butcher the crap out of these people. But it's it low key was kind of funny because there was it was just so bad. And how, okay, for example, the one lady who was dressed as the nurse who's just shooting and shooting and shooting at the car. It's like you're wasting so many damn bullets.
What are you doing?
Oh my God. I was like, you're not even shooting at him. I was like, oh my gosh. That it was really laughably bad how horrible like the people's like, well, okay, but that's kind of the point though, is like, they don't, the people didn't know what they were doing,
Exactly, because they never know where Michael Myers is going to appear.
Yeah.
With
that I meant it was their first time like touching a gun. That's what I meant. It was like, yes, but again, that's kind of the point. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, they're not freaking Marines. Like they don't know what the hell they're doing. So anyway, so that part was to me kind of a little bit comedic. But anyway, but like you said, like this film, like if you want to see Michael Myers slaughter people and nothing more, nothing less, this is probably, I would say, the best film in the franchise to watch just for that, honestly.
But if you want like a more compelling story, this is not it.
No, it's not. This is a very turn your brain off kind of a movie, might I say.
This is like the most turn your brain off Halloween movie.
I think so, yeah. Maybe not as much as Halloween 3. Halloween 3 is very turn your brain off as well. At least in my opinion.
I think this one's more like it because
you think this one is more?
I honestly think so, more because there's more deaths in this movie and actually has more to do with Michael Myers, like because Halloween 3 has nothing to do with Michael Myers at all. Like they decided to scrape him from Halloween 3 and it completely failed on its knees. So basically they just brought back Michael Myers in Halloween 4.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's no, if we're talking about Michael Myers movies, then yeah, this
one's very turn your brain off.
Yeah. Also, by the way, has the chat been going at all? Because I feel like we haven't looked at that.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I keep forgetting to read this chat. I'm very far behind. So
that's okay. We'll
okay, so Movies and Train says he bought the Walmart exclusive of the Suicide Squad and found it secondhand, still in the wrapping, only $12. Nice. I remember as I saw the Suicide Squad 1 week early, the audiences were laughing at a lot of parts. My theater was actually almost pretty empty, if I'm actually going to be.
What, really? We watched it on opening day, and
I saw it on opening night.
Oh, did you really?
Like I saw this on the Friday night that it came out.
I would say that the part that everyone was laughing throughout the movie, but the part that I haven't laughed so hard from a comedy in so long beforehand, I could just see it now, was Polka Dot Man, don't you see who that is? It's your mom.
You see who that is? Huh? It's your mom.
That's the fun. Oh my God, dude. I was laughing until my chest hurt and my tears were watering.
Okay.
Or my eyes.
I thought it was going to cut me out for a second because I was getting a notification for a FaceTime call, but we're good.
Okay, that's good.
Your mic is muted.
Is it? Hello?
Huh. It was a little off.
Hello.
Here, see if I can. I'm gonna exit out for a second and then try this again.
Okay.
So I'll be right back.
I'm the host. What do hosts say? I don't know if you guys can hear me or not. If you can, that's cool. Let us know if you can.
There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you. It's just I thought your mic was muted, but apparently.
I had to be the host for a second.
Yeah, you're good.
You have to go back on replay and see that. Oh my god.
Okay.
You have to skip forward to this part. Okay. Anyway, let's carry on.
So, yeah, let's keep going. I personally think the most underrated movie of the year is The Harder They Fall. That's a good one.
I haven't seen that one yet.
It's on Netflix, so I think you really should give it a chance. It is really good.
Okay.
King Alex is Awesome says that I didn't go crazy on The Harder They Fall, but I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it, actually. Fritsky Free Guy. Don't blame you. He was talking about that moment where he forgot that it was like what I was quoting Free Guy.
Wait, so he's the one who does like Free Guy, or he does not like Free Guy?
He loves Free Guy.
Okay. I thought he was saying "Don't Blame You," as in like "Don't Blame You" was a bad movie. But it sounds like this guy's polar opposite of that.
Yeah, he loves Free Guy. He says Mortal Kombat's not a perfect movie. Mortal Kombat was great. Not perfect, but really fun. I agree with you, Luke. It's not the best video game movie, but it's definitely up there. Okay? I'm really hoping that Mortal Kombat gets a sequel. I need to see a tournament go down. There was no tournament in this Mortal Kombat movie. There was no tournament. So it makes sense. Free Guy was definitely the biggest surprise of the year. Not quite my biggest surprise, but we'll get to that. We have to admit, though, The Cat in the Hat with Mike Myers is way better than The Nun and Curse of La Llorona.
I can get behind that.
I agree, actually.
I have honestly, it's Cat in the Hat is a very stupid movie, but it's like who doesn't like laugh their butt off at that movie though? It's funny. Like it's
so fun. Like it's so funny, but we know it's bad.
Yeah, especially oh my gosh. It's like the freaking one scene, the kitchen show scene, you know what I'm talking about?
Like when he cuts his tail off?
Yes, that is hysterical, dude.
It's like, son of a bitch. Or even that scene like when he takes the photograph of Conrad and Sally's mom, and it goes extended. He's like,
yes, like, dude.
And he's like, and then Conrad's like, that's my mom. Awkward.
Or how about the freaking dog peeing on the
taco?
Yes. Oh my gosh, dude. You can't tell me this film isn't hysterical.
Or even this scene. You pay this woman to sit on babies?
Yes. Mrs. Kwan.
Yes. Alex says that we need Mike Flanagan to make a Conjuring universe film. I agree. Actually, I agree. Son of a bitch. The Cat in the Hat kitchen scene is literally one of the most funniest scenes of the movie.
It is. It's hysterical.
Or any Dr. Seuss adaptation or of any Dr. Seuss adaptation is one of the funniest scenes ever. Yeah. But if we're going to talk about the funniest, I'm going to be honest. When Jim Carrey goes down like basically goes from his cave in The Grinch on the rocket boosted sleigh.
Yes.
I'm going to throw up and then I'm going to die.
Yes. No. Oh my gosh. Or what about in The Grinch? Honey, our baby's here. He looks just like your boss.
All this Christmas music is joyful and triumphant.
That's a good impression. I'm not gonna lie. That's pretty
good. I love Jim. Dude, I can just do any Jim Carrey impression from The Grinch. But what would I wear?
Oh my gosh!
Grow up.
Or what about? Do you remember the part when he's a baby and he goes, "Santa, bye bye." Oh my god! Bye-bye. That is bye-bye. Dude, you do a good job. That's funny.
I just love The Grinch. I watch it every Christmas, dude. Every Christmas.
Good movie. It's a good movie. I don't know what the hate for that movie. I didn't know there was hate for it, so I looked at reviews. I didn't know that people didn't like it.
Yeah, Miss Kwan looks like Counselor from Family Guy.
Consuela.
Consuela. I thought it was Counselor. Like Robert De Niro says in Cape Fear, like Counselor. Hey,
Oh yeah.
Counselor. You
Oh,
guys should host a Cat in the Hat watch party. I think
that
we have an
sounds
idea on our.
kind of that sounds kind of fun. I'm not gonna lie. It's like just
We'll do
running
it.
the
We'll,
script. And
we'll do it one day. I promise. We'll do it one day.
that's a promise. Okay, I'm down. Just let me
If
know.
you want to do it, man. If you want to do it.
Let's do it, dude. We just gotta schedule it. Oh my gosh,
Yep.
that sounds so
Anytime,
fun.
man. Like anytime that we have like our free time, we'll do it.
Let's do it. That sounds so fun.
Illumination is doing a bad job at recreating a lot of old Dr. Seuss films. The Grinch was okay. The Lorax was actually pretty good. I like the Lorax.
I'm not gonna lie. It's weird because I get where people are coming from when they say like Illumination is just so bland compared to other higher end studios such as Pixar or Ghibli, but it's like I don't know. At the same time, it's like to me, they're just like at the end of the day, they're kind of just disposable animation movies. Most of them, for the most part, to me,
Yeah.
they're just I don't know. I don't make that comparison between you say Illumination like Pixar or Ghibli just because is there really a comparison? That's why. I don't know. I just like to me I don't know. I look and I do like the first two Despicable Me movies. I think they're funny.
Yeah, I agree. Sing was also pretty good as well. The first Sing, I have not seen 2 yet, but I want to. I actually want to see Sing 2.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. Great cast. Bono as Clay the Lion. Sign me up.
Maybe if I'm bored or something, we'll see.
Yeah, but we'll see. Also, airbag's a little slow. And what is that stench? It's fantastic. Max, grab a bag. We'll come back for the rest. And by we, I mean you.
I think they really just want to hear. He's just saying lines because he really wants to hear your Grinch voice.
I don't mind doing it.
That was pretty funny.
You're signed up, buddy. You are signed up. You said I would probably collab for the Cat in the Hat film watch party.
I'm down.
I'll do it. But anyways, let's keep going. Another one I wanted to talk about here. Cruella.
That was a good one.
For anybody that hates this movie, I'm sorry. I adored Cruella with all my heart.
Emma Stone's performance was fantastic.
And she got Golden Globe nominated too, which I'm happy about.
Yeah, she deserves it. That was really good.
And if she gets Oscar nominated, good job in the Academy. They actually did something right.
Yeah. I don't know how likely it'll be, but it also it'll be one of those instances where it's like, yeah, no, I can get behind this. I can get behind her being nominated for sure. She did a great job.
Exactly. Like, oh, hold on. I just got a comment. Really, dude?
Oh man, I think you spoke too soon.
We're gonna have a talk there, buddy. We're gonna have a talk.
Oh man, stuff is going down.
But yeah, Emma Stone was great in Cruella. Nobody talks about Joel Fryer, Paul Walter Hauser as Horace and Jasper. Nobody talks about them.
They were funny. I liked them.
You're getting kissed right on the mouth.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed the movie like quite a bit, like more than I thought I was going to, because I mean this wave of Disney remakes, I just feel like most of them are just so not necessary in my opinion. It's just like I think again, like I said before, I think we need to focus on original ideas more, because I feel like people are kind of like original ideas are kind of getting like ran out of. But
exactly.
This one was a little different because it actually like I think it was a lot more darker than people expected. You know,
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah, because like Dalmatians is just such an innocent movie. You know what I mean? It's just like you can show it to like, I'm pretty sure it's rated G. I would be shocked if it wasn't.
Yeah.
But but the anyway, it's it takes a movie that's just so like made for children and then amplifies it in a way where it's like I feel like this is not an out. I would say it's probably a family film because like younger audiences can enjoy it, but I feel like this is definitely one of the more adult Disney remakes for sure, or
I agree with you there.
origin stories, what live action, whatever you want to call it.
Reimagining.
Reimagining. How about that?
Yeah, I agree with that. This is one I know you haven't seen, but I kind of wanted to point this one out in regards to Overlooked. Ron's Gone Wrong.
I've wanted to see it. Was it good?
I loved it, dude. It was great. I loved it. Hi, Barney. I'm your best friend out of my box.
Yeah, no, I've heard a lot of really positive reception around that movie. I low key like have wanted to check it out at some point. Like call me a big kid. I don't care. It sounded like it was cute.
Yeah, I mean, it is cute for what it is. Like, and I'm not opposed like to any like most of the kids films that we've gotten this year. Most of them have actually been pretty good.
They really have. It's funny because I've seen a lot more kid movies and family movies this year than I expected I would, which is funny. But I guess when you're part of a family, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. But
yep,
it is what it is.
Like one example that I thought was not going to be very good was Peter Rabbit 2. That was actually quite enjoyable.
My sister was watching that the other day and wanted me to watch with her. And I was like, come on, man. Like, can we watch something like worthwhile? And we started it. I was like, okay, this is actually not that bad. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I was actually surprised that it was actually good. I mean, I knew I was honestly going to like it because I liked the first movie. But what can you do, if I'm going to be honest?
Yeah.
Another example for kids, movies that I actually enjoyed, Space Jam.
I was just about to mention Space Jam. Dude, what the heck was the hate with this movie? Honestly, I didn't see would I see it 5 more times? Probably not. But it was a good, in my personal opinion, Space Jam was A New Legacy was a good way to bring back the magic of the first film that the kids in the 90s had to now, and bringing that magic back in a way that modern audiences can enjoy. But I feel like people take some of these family films way too seriously, in my opinion, if you know what I mean. Like, I feel like okay, they're not going to be best picture winners, they're not going to revolutionize cinema, like, you really think the next Space Jam is going to like flip the tables? Like, really?
And have LeBron James win an Academy Award?
Yeah, like, come on, man. Like, this is a go have a fun time with your family and friends at the movie theater kind of a movie, which I actually did see this in theaters with my friend, which is funny. We it was so funny that I think there was just, we went I think it was like the Saturday after it came out. We went in the middle of the day at a time where it just actually, no, I don't think it was a Saturday. I think it was like Monday after it came out. Me and my friend, we went in the middle of the day when no one was really about. Theater was kind of dead at that point in the day. And here we are, 2 18-year-olds, like, freaking just in the middle of the day watching a kids movie. But it was fun. What can I say? It's a fun movie. A lot of callbacks to other films too, which is, in my opinion, the best addition to the movie. Just gonna say that.
I agree, and people will complain that it is a big commercial for other Warner Brothers properties, but that was the whole point.
Yeah, and to that I say, who cares?
Yep, no one really cares about that anyway, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah. You really are going to get mad over that? Like, come on now.
Yeah. One that I've really been wanting to point out in this video, that I hear nobody talking about that is actually so good. The Guilty with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh,
That's
the
another.
Netflix 911 movie.
Yep.
My parents saw it and loved it, and I unfortunately I don't know what I was doing, but I didn't watch it with them.
I don't know, but I thought it was very good. Jake Gyllenhaal was phenomenal, as he always is. Like,
I've
I loved
heard
it
it's
so
worth
much.
seeing just for the sake of him.
It is for sure. Oh, Alex pointed the King. Alex is awesome. Pointed this out earlier. One that we should have talked about. Candyman.
Yeah, I know we touched a little bit. Was it? I think it was your review with Tyran. I think was when you guys made that triple bill video. You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. Yeah, my thoughts on Candyman. This one, I'm 50-50 on, honestly. It's because okay. My main problems that I had with the film, two things really. One, here's my thing. It wasn't terrible. I've seen it done. I've seen what I'm about to say here done worse in other movies. But when it comes to horror movies, like, horror is my favorite genre. If you look at this little arsenal behind me, I don't think I need to say much else.
Yep.
And it's like, horror is like what I live and breathe. So when I go to see a horror movie, I just freaking can't stand when there's like and there's when the politics, or like there's this message about social stuff going on in the world, like, is shoved down our throats. Not that okay, people say, well, if you want to go ahead and say that, you could say that Candyman's always been like that because, the original film is about a lynch victim, and that's the origin story of the character. Now, while that's true, here's the thing: is that besides that, I saw a lot less of that in the film from the 90s. I feel like it was very focused on Helen, in my opinion, and it was like I felt like the politics weren't as there wasn't as much of a, like, eat the message, eat it.
Like a political standpoint to it.
Yeah, I just don't like politics in my movies. Unless if I want to see a movie about politics, I'm gonna watch a movie about politics, like Malcolm X or The Trial of the Chicago 7. I'm gonna see movies about
The Ides of March.
Yeah, I'm gonna see it, but when I go to see Candyman, that's the last thing I want in a movie. You know what I mean? That was my one problem I had with it, is that, okay, like I said, I've seen this done way worse in other movies, but you're living under a rock if you don't see why this sequel reboot, shall we call it? It was basically the Halloween 2018 of the Candyman series. You're living under a rock if you don't see why it came out in 2021. I don't need to get into it. We're not making this like a political argument at all, but you're living under a rock if you don't see why it came out this year. And second off, so yeah, I'm just not a fan when there's like some sort of a political agenda behind the movie. Second off, my other problem that I had with it is I was extremely excited when I found out that Tony Todd was supposed to come back. And he's like, because, in my opinion, I think he's one of the best things that makes the film, the original film, so great. His performance is amazing. It's iconic. It's, oh my gosh. Do we even need to get into that freaking when he reveals himself about like 20 or 30 minutes into the movie, like that Helen, like in the garage scene? Oh my gosh, that scene is freaking, like, gives you shivers down your spine if you watch it in, with surround sound, big speakers and such. That's a freaking, like, really creepy scene. And like I said, I have, like, I feel like there's not there's not a bone left in my body I thought could get scared anymore. But that's admittedly a really creepy part. And it's like, you know, his acting is just awesome in that movie. What kind of low key upset me about this film is that he does not have a part in it until the end of the movie. You know, it's the, and I do, the reason why I said I was 50-50 on this is because I do understand what they were trying to do. They wanted to expand the lore and the legend of the villain and of the legend of Candyman, and they wanted to expand things to say that, okay, there can be more than one. Any one can be Candyman. How about that? I get what they were trying to do. I thought that was, and I will give kudos where it's due. That was a cool way to make to make a worthy sequel. But it just kind of upset me though. Like I said, I thought it was cool that they were trying to do that. But you can't tell me that Tony Todd is coming back and have him give a one-liner at the end and call that his big comeback. That's what upset me about it. You know what I'm saying? That's not.
Yeah.
That's a cameo. You know what I'm saying? So that's what low-key kind of upset me. Anyway, I've been kind of blabbering on here. So those are my main two problems with the movie. But I will say cinematography was great. Acting from pretty much everyone was really good. I also liked how this film, there was a lot of ambiguity. It didn't show most of the kills. Like that bathroom scene, you don't see jack.
Yes.
But it was like you know, that bathroom scene, you don't see nothing. But it's like but you know what's going on.
Like, you only just see the blood that happens. Like, you don't see how they're being killed.
Mm-hmm. I think it leaves like room for your imagination. You almost don't have to see it because that's kind of the fun of it. It lets your imagination go wild. So I like films that try to do stuff like that. And like going back to the cinematography, I just think that the way it captures the skylines of the city in this film are just great. The atmosphere was really chilling. I mean, the scene where what's the character's name? The Candyman of this, not the main character.
Anthony.
No, not Anthony. The guy who the guy who was
William.
living in the walls.
I think it was William.
Maybe.
Because he was. Let's see. I know wasn't he played? He was played by Coleman Domingo, right?
I think so. Let me see. I can look real quick. Why is this not working? Yeah, no, it was let me see here. Cast. Okay. Yeah, whatever, I give up. Anyway, he was the guy who played the antagonist of this film. Maybe not the antagonist, but the guy who was living in the walls, handing out candy to kids. He was the quote unquote Candyman, the main ghost of this film. Something Fields. His last name was Fields. We'll just call him Fields. How about that?
Yeah, Fields.
That was a creepy ass scene. The part where he's coming out of the walls, singing. There's this creepy humming that he's doing while he's like inching towards him with that was weird. But anyway, yeah, no, it was that there's stuff about this movie that's really well done. Tension is good. It also did a good job tying it. I don't want to give away too much detail, but the twist of how it is about how our main character is connected to the original film, I thought that was a cool way to do it. Anyway,
Absolutely.
There's stuff to like about this film. I thought it was solid. It was fine. But I think the main two issues I had with it, I know I've been talking nonstop, my bad, but my main two issues that I had at the beginning that I mentioned earlier on a few minutes ago, I think bothered me a little too much to the point where it kind of did get into my enjoyment. So I gave it a 3 out of 5. So like kind of like a C+ for me. Solid, fine. Maybe see it again at some point, give it another chance. But that's
I would recommend giving it another chance because I think if you watch it a second time, it'll probably improve your issues a little bit more.
Yeah, now that I know what's happening, it may not I'm not going to get disappointed now that I already know. You know what I mean? Now that I already
Yeah.
know about that there's some commentary in the movie, now that I know that Tony Todd doesn't have that big of a role, it may not bother me now. We'll see.
Yeah, but wait till Ron's Gone Wrong and Last Night in Soho be one of the best of the decade. Like same with Scott Pilgrim. I don't know. We'll see. I feel like 8-Bit Christmas would fall into the category of being fun and way overhated by people expecting it to be serious.
I
I
have no
wasn't.
idea. I have no
That's
idea what it even is.
that's an HBO Max movie with NPH,
Oh, okay.
but I didn't care for it very much. If I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not going to tell you about it. I rewatched Candyman and I loved it. I don't know if you saw my review on Letterboxd, but it got way better on a rewatch. I think he gave it a 3 out of 5 on his first watch.
Okay, so maybe things will change. Who knows? I'm open minded. I'm willing to give it a second chance. You know.
Yep. See you later, King Alex. Hope you have a good day.
Thanks for hanging out.
Helen. Yes, I love it, dude. My boy AJ Reacts 2 is here. How's it going, buddy?
Here. What's up, man?
Yep. The scene in Candyman that creeped me out the most on my first watch was when Anthony was looking in the mirror and his friend comes out of the bathroom and you see Fields walk away in the background.
That was cool. That was a cool thing they did there. Yeah.
I found it creepy, like when he was just leaving a apartment room and he sees Candyman in his reflection. I was like, whoa, how does he see this guy? But I understand why, though, because he has a huge connection with the Candyman.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Do you mind if I throw a movie in there?
Go right ahead, man.
Okay. One movie I think if you have, I feel like a lot of Netflix watchers who, like, every time there's like hype around a new Netflix movie, they've seen it. Horror fans have seen it. But one movie that I think more people ought to see if they haven't, for sure, Fear Street 1994. If you like it, I recommend giving the other two a watch. If you don't like it, then who knows? But I thought it was one of the best horror movies of this year. Honestly, I really freaking liked it. I felt like it was it did a good job of giving callbacks to other previous horror films, such as like one of the dominant ones in here being Scream, without being such a copycat. It's hard to explain, but in my opinion, it does. It's almost like a callback with a twist. Not a plot twist, but a twist as in like kind of it does something a little different. I honestly really enjoyed it. I thought when it started out, I love the opening. I think the opening is fantastic. Especially the blue lighting in the beginning. But anyway, back to what I was saying. I thought that when it was showing all the high school stuff and the drama and, like, you know, this person's dating this person who's broken. Yeah. Who the heck cares, honestly? I was like, okay, this is like going to be some stupid teenage slasher junk, right? Disposable garbage. But once things got going, it actually got really interesting. And I think this trilogy has some really, really good lore to it. And I think, like I said, if you do like this first one, I recommend giving the other two a watch just to see, you know, how things end. But it was a cool little trilogy. I can't call it a series because they're movies, or not. It's a series of movies, but it's not like a TV series. But a film came out like every Friday, I think.
Yeah.
And it was like that was really cool and something to look forward to. Like it was almost like back in the days of back when I used to watch cable TV. It was like when a new episode came out, like on, you know, for a new show on cable. I remember one series I really loved. Do you remember Grimm? It was like a show on NBC.
I've heard of that show. Yeah.
That was a good one. It was like, you know, it was about a cop who he was what's called a Grimm. And a Grimm basically sees when these humans turn into monsters and fairy tale creatures, but only the Grimms can see him. All the other regular humans are blind to it. And it was really interesting because it was like a cop show, but all the criminals in the movies were all like werewolves and like all kinds of like interesting character dragons and all kinds of weird things. It was a trippy show. Don't get me wrong, but
Oh
anyway,
yeah.
it was just like back in the days of old. Like, oh, your new episode's coming on this week. It was like it gave you something to look forward to. That was cool. But anyway, I think more people ought to see that film if they haven't already, in my opinion.
I didn't really care for it all that much. I think the second one's honestly the best out of all of them. Then I'm gonna go
Second one was pretty
three.
good.
Then I'm gonna go three, and then I'm gonna go one. If I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't really care for much for the first film, but I enjoyed the sequels.
I think, yeah, no, two was solid. It was a good callback to. It was I think okay. First movie is a callback to the '90s films like Scream. Next one like was kind of a callback to some of the camp slasher films like Friday the 13th or Sleepaway Camp. And then the third movie started as as a witch trials movie, but then blended into everything else. And I think I'm not gonna lie, I thought the beginning of the final movie was, while I thought it was a little boring, just because it's weird. I'm so hit and miss with old English films that things kind of I don't know. It's weird. Not all, I should say, but some old English films, like I think it's just they start to kind of get me a little bored. I thought it was a little slow, but once things hit the fan, it went crazy. And then, as we all know, then the last half of the movie, the last like what hour or so, maybe ish, ties into the first one. And I thought that once it ties back to the first one, like I was like, oh my gosh, this finale is awesome.
Oh yeah. And let's see. One that I also wanted to talk about is another horror movie that I don't hear enough people talking about. That's The Night House.
Mhm.
Oh my god, I love this movie. So good. See another one. This is not really a horror movie by this one, but this one is mixed between a lot of people. The Many Saints of Newark, the Sopranos prequel.
I have to see it still, honestly. I've got to see that movie. How'd you like it?
I loved it actually. I love Many Saints of Newark. Great dialogue, performances. It's not just focusing on Tony Soprano because you're not going to get that very much if you expect it from the movie because it's technically a Sopranos prequel.
So it's
But
kind of its own thing, like same universe, but it's almost like you're gonna enjoy it if you're a fan of the series, but you're like it kind of does its own thing at the same time. Is that kind of what
yeah,
it is?
but if you go in with too high expectations, you're not going to like it.
Yeah. So well,
But
the good thing is like I've seen a few episodes, I believe, but I'm not really as big into that show like as some other people are. It's a show that's been on my watch list for a while. I just haven't gotten around to it. But would you say to watch the show first and then that, or would it kind of be cool now that it's out to do the other way around?
I'd say do it the other way around because I did watch a couple episodes before I watched the movie, but I still think like if you do it either way, it's all up to you.
Yeah.
But see, I'm
Did
trying
it?
to think.
One other thing I gotta say, did it feel a little too? I've heard a couple people say this. Did it feel a little too much like a gangster movie, like say Goodfellas? Did like a little too many callbacks to like a Scorsese type of feel, or did it kind of do its own thing?
Um, I felt like it kind of did its own thing, but there were times where it's like it it just went back and forth, just being like a gangster flick like Goodfellas.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but I mean, I wasn't like complaining about it in the slightest because I still really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm trying to think of another one that I don't hear enough people talk about. Oh, this one I think is underrated. Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Unfortunately I still need to freaking make time to go see it. Now that I'm on Christmas break, um, with this semester being over and stuff. I don't go back to school till like mid-January just because college breaks are kind of long. But yeah, no, me and my family need to go see it for sure. Probably sometime this week or next week. We have to
Yes,
see it while it's in theaters. We have to.
yes. You absolutely have to see it in theaters. I saw it with my parents in theaters, and I freaking loved it.
We actually rewatched the original about I want to say like 3 weeks ago to prepare for the new movie, but then uh then I got the freaking flu, and then I was out with that for like a week and a half. It was a bad one too. I haven't
Oh,
got dude. I haven't been sick since 2019, and that thing kicked my ass. Like I was glued to my bed for a week and a half.
oh man,
Bad.
I feel bad for you, bro. But at least you're better now.
That's what I'm so happy about. I think we also were gonna make a video or something around then, and then I said, yeah, no, I can't do this. I was like, I feel terrible, dude. I literally, okay, you can actually see it, right? Okay, so you see right there where that jack head is. That's like at my bookshelf. There's a charger over there. I always charge my phone at night on the corner there, and you can see like the corner of my bed right there.
Yeah.
So dude, whenever my phone buzzed, the worst part of this flu for me was the achiness. Like I could not for the life of me. Like I was sitting upright on my bed, and the achiness was just so agonizing. When say my phone rang, I couldn't even like turn my head to get my phone without going super slow, because if I went too fast, I would say like in pain.
Yeah.
My whole body just hurt. My whole body just absolutely hurt. Oh hey, had a little guest, the little 13-year-old we were talking about earlier.
That's your sister.
Mhm.
Yep. Let's see. I'm trying to think of another one here.
I think that's really. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm gonna throw in one. One movie I know you saw it, and I know you actually enjoyed it. One that actually very hated movie, but I didn't think it was that bad. How about The Marksman, Liam Neeson?
I agree with you 100%. It is not that bad.
It is not bad at all. Everyone's like, "Oh, here comes January. Here comes the disposable, throwawayable, Liam Neeson action movie." It wasn't that bad at all. I don't know what the hate was. I thought the story was low key pretty cool.
Yeah, it was. I do feel like it tried to be a little bit too much like Rambo Last Blood at times because of its
Oh, it definitely felt like there were a lot of callbacks to Rambo Last Blood, for sure.
because there's not really much action sequences until the very end of the film.
Yeah.
But here's the thing though, it's telling a good story, which is something that I like. But there were times where I feel like I've seen the story done like in so many other movies, but done better.
Yes. It's just a movie that it doesn't invent nothing. And you more than likely have seen other movies do the same thing better. So that's why I would say that this movie it doesn't deserve the hate because it doesn't do wrong. It's not a bad movie. It just doesn't invent anything is kind of the problem. But that's also not, at the same time though, I thought it was a decently worthy watch. Like it's not a movie that I wouldn't see it. Okay. It was a one-time watch for me. I gave it 3.5 out of 5, which for me is like, a solid B, maybe B minus at most. But anyway, no, it was not terrible. People like were taking a crap on this movie, and I mean a literal crap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like 1.5 or even 1.5 out of 5. Like, okay,
A half out of 5.
these are like movies that like I've seen like people actually give like awful movies like that kind of rating and are well deserved. That movie, it's a movie that's just doesn't deserve like a 0.5 out of 5. I'm sorry. That's
If
just
it's
not
like,
where it's
but if it's in like guilty pleasure facet, then yes, it would.
yeah,
But
exactly.
but the Marksman is far from that. And one that I actually have to say for people that have either given it like a 2 out of 5 or 1.5 out of 5, it's not the Marksman, but this is another one that I actually really enjoyed. I don't think you've seen it yet. Red Notice with Dwayne Johnson, Ryan Reynolds, and Gal Gadot from Rawson Marshall Thurber.
Was that the action movie that came out on Netflix?
It was in select theaters and then it came out on Netflix a week later.
Okay, I heard about that one, and there one time I was in the break room at work, And there was a guy on the news, because the news was playing on there, who had made he saw that and Belfast.
Oh, Belfast, yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
But
so he was making a review of those two movies, and he mentioned that, so that's kind of how I knew about it. No, I hadn't seen that movie. How was it like?
what for Red Notice?
Uh-huh.
It was good actually. I actually did like it. I don't get the hate for Ryan Reynolds. Honestly, I don't get the hate for the guy. He's funny, likable, and just all around charismatic. Like he's a very charismatic actor. Like he knows what he's doing and he knows his type of humor.
Is it another movie that, like, is it, because I know that, like I mentioned, like Liam Neeson kind of gets this tied to him where he's like in a bunch of quote unquote disposable movies. Is it kind of like another quote unquote disposable Rock Johnson kind of a movie? Like where it's like it's not bad, but it's just like, it's just kind of, you
Like
probably have seen other movies do the same thing better.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, but I'm not saying it's like very disposable. Like I actually can have fun with it. A lot of the jokes are funny. I mean, mostly from Ryan Reynolds, in my opinion, because as a big fan of the guy as I am, like
I didn't even know it was a comedy, to be honest.
it's more of like a action comedy, more like
Action comedy, okay.
because well, I mean, if it's an action film, but when you have someone like Ryan Reynolds, it's going to be a comedy.
Yeah, that's true.
And
You're not gonna have him in a serious one. Well, shouldn't say that, because we have Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems,
and we had Ryan Reynolds in Buried, which is a very serious movie.
Yeah.
But with Ryan Reynolds, like people just can't take this guy seriously anymore. Like they're just tired of him playing the same character, and I'm fine with it because like he knows his style of humor.
It's kind of like Samuel L. Jackson. It's almost like it's the same personality. Like not dismissing Samuel L. Jackson. I love the guy, but he brings a very similar personality to all of his movies. But that's almost like his trademark,
Yeah, that's kind of what Ryan Reynolds does, and plus both of them have worked together before.
Mm-hmm.
So what else do you really need for us to say? Or
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
And let's see. I think I got one more, right? Maybe two more that I want to point out, and these are my top 10 of the year.
Oh,
one that I watched recently, Don't Look Up, which I freaking loved.
That movie is that the one with Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yep.
Yeah, how was that? I've been wondering about that movie.
I loved it, man. I freaking fell in love with it. It was funny, and it had some good drama in there, but I feel like the comedy was more like lifted up better because you have Adam McKay as part of the direction.
Yeah.
And when you have like an all-star cast like Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, Jonah Hill, Meryl Streep, Kid Cudi, Tyler Perry, Mark Rylance, Ariana Grande, and Timothy Chalamet, you have me sold.
There are a lot of very household names in this movie. Oh my God. I didn't know half of these people were even in it.
But when you have someone like Leonardo DiCaprio, you're going to get me in there no matter what.
Oh, anything with Leo is worth seeing. I don't think he's attached. He's one of those people where I really don't think he's attached himself to any trash.
Well, in regards to like his acting career.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
did you know that he actually used to be? I didn't know this, and I wouldn't have known this if it wasn't for my sibling. But did you know that he was actually in this Mickey Mouse short when he was small? It was like one of his first performances. I don't know if it was his first or not, but it was one of his extremely like early on works. Like I think it was like 13, 12, something like that at the time.
I don't know, man.
It was like this half-hour Mickey Mouse special.
Yeah, I didn't know about that one, but lately, lately DiCaprio's been very picky about his roles. He's been very picky.
I think he just doesn't want to go. He doesn't. I think it's just one of those things where he doesn't want to leave too many messy tracks on his legacy. I think that's what it is. He's getting picky because he wants his career to stay as clean as possible. And he's done a good job. Don't get me wrong. I mean,
Like Wolf of Wall Street, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, The Revenant, and now Don't Look Up.
oh yeah, The
Yep.
Departed,
The Departed, like firefighters.
Titanic, like you name it, anything he's in.
Yeah, exactly.
It's worth watching just for the sake of him.
Yep. And one last film I got to point out, and then if you have one last movie, go right ahead.
I don't, but you go ahead.
But my last film, The Last Duel.
How was that one?
That's another one of my top 10 that I absolutely adored, telling 3 different viewpoints from 3 main characters, from Jean de Carouge, which was Matt Damon's character, Jacques Legris, which is Adam Driver's character, and Marguerite de Carouge, which is played by Jodie Comer.
Yeah.
And Comer stole the show.
Really?
She absolutely stole the movie for me. Like, I feel bad that she's not going to get nominated for Best Supporting Actress or anything like that, because Ridley Scott movie, and it came out a little bit too early. So screw the Academy. We're done. But I don't know, man. But I adored The Last Duel. Matt Damon and Adam Driver were great, but Jodie Comer was my favorite part of the film.
Yeah. I think I saw the trailer for it a while ago. It looked worth watching for sure. I was like, okay, like this could be pretty good.
It's Ridley Scott, so of course it's going to be good.
Anything again, Ridley Scott, another one of those names where it's like you just hear him like, and you're instantly like, okay, like might be worth checking out.
Yeah, but he is very hit or miss at times, though. He's very hit or miss.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about stuff like The Last Duel, that's a hit. But if we're talking about stuff like The Counselor, that's a miss.
Mm-hmm.
Or in this case, maybe House of Gucci can be hit or miss for most people.
That's what I hear. I'm really curious to know what I think about that movie. We meant to go see it a few weeks ago, but again, like freaking got sick. So it was like I'm very, very looking forward to my afterthoughts and hearing what my future self has to say. Because some people are really not liking it, and some people are saying it's their movie of the year. So I'm really curious to see what I think.
Yeah, and I've heard Lady Gaga's performance was terrific. So that's one thing that's really got me sold about it. But
me too. It's a stacked cast in general. I was like, okay, how can you have all of these names who, again, for the most part, they don't attach themselves to crap, except for I don't know,
Leto. I said it. You cut out, dude.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I hear you.
Okay. For some reason, no.
What the? Oh boy. Is he coming back, or what's going on here? I guess when he comes back in, I'll let him back in really quick, and then we'll wrap it up. But I don't know. It's just this connection or something like that that may throw you guys off a little bit. But he'll be back in just a minute. I'll let him back in.
Good.
Okay, there we go.
There we go. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. My idiot friend can't take a hint when I hang up on him the first time. That's why it happened. That's why it happened twice.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so sorry about that. Anyway, back to what I was saying though. It's like, okay, yeah, Jared Leto with the Joker maybe, and then okay. Well, you know what? Apart from the fact that he looked kind of stupid missing a belly button in The Last Jedi, Adam Driver with Kylo Ren. His performance as Kylo Ren is pretty solid, I would say, for the most part. I don't see much wrong with the acting side of things on his end. It was kind of my problem with this last trilogy is really just the writing and the lack of creativity, honestly, I would say, is my main issue with it. But anyway, we're not here to talk about Star Wars, though. But as I was saying, it's just like, most of the actors in that movie, again, don't attach themselves to too much garbage, and Jared Leto, again, like, yeah, he has had a couple of misses, but for the most part, he can act. He has the potential. He just, I don't know. He just, for some reason, Joker exists. How about that?
Like, if you give him the right role, like with Dallas Buyers Club, he proves himself that he can act.
He really can. Or how about an American Psycho? Even though it wasn't a very big role, that was a good little part for him.
Exactly. Like, so if you give him like roles like American Psycho or Dallas Buyers Club, he proves that he can act.
He
But
has
if
the
you give him some,
potential.
yeah, but if you give him something like the Joker, you're like, okay, yeah, you just wasted my money. But
Did you see Gucci yet?
no,
Okay.
I still haven't
We're gonna
yet.
have
But
to. Maybe that could be our next video is a discussion about the movie. Who knows?
like our mixed discussion on it, like whenever we see it.
Yeah, because who knows? Maybe you'll like it and I'll hate it. Vice versa. We'll both like it. We'll both hate it. Who knows? It seems
We'll
to
see.
be very split.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I mean,
But
all the other actors though. I mean, you got Al Pacino. He's great in pretty much everything you throw at him. Lady
Jeremy
Gaga.
Irons.
Oh yeah, Jeremy Irons is good. What? Not that she's been in the game forever, but yeah, no, anything. But Lady Gaga, she is surprisingly good. I thought A Star Is Born. I think 2018 is the year it came out. I thought that movie was freaking fantastic. I loved it.
There you go. Like that proves to you that Lady Gaga can act.
Yeah, which I get a little nervous sometimes when a singer comes along and does an acting role, but because they can be hit or miss, admittedly. But you know what? That was actually that was a phenomenal performance from both her and Bradley Cooper's end. Like that movie was absolutely awesome.
Yes, I agree. But my dude, we did it. We've been on the stream for over 2 hours now, but you know what? It was.
I didn't very well. I saw. I think the last time I looked, it was the 1.5 hour mark.
Yeah, but you know what? It was worth every minute of it. So,
yeah.
Alex, thank you so much for coming on here. Tell these people in the chat where they can find you.
Okay, so YouTube, same name, Frisky, as you can see. Oh, I didn't realize how big I was. Instagram, Negretti, NEGRETE _Alex25. I think that's really it, to be honest.
Yeah, I put you on the solo layout, so that's the reason why you look so big.
Yeah, I know. I was like, whoa. I thought that for some reason, I thought you disconnected because it always makes you larger when you're the only one here. But I heard you. I still kind of heard you breathing a little bit. So I was like, is he gone?
But no, I put you on the solo layout, because that's kind of what I do now. So,
okay.
But again, Alex, thank you so much for coming on the stream. I hope to have you on here again at some point. So hit me up whenever you want me to.
Apparently, we already know what two of them are going to be: Gucci and Cat in the Hat.
Gotta plan that. We gotta plan that Cat in the Hat watch along. That's for darn sure.
That'll be sometime in the future.
Yep. And once again, I'll let the link in the description below that goes to his channel. Go check him out. And also hit the subscribe button for me as well. And also that notification bell. And also hit the thumbs up as well, because it's very beneficial for me and Alex to get our content out there. Once again, guys, thank you guys so much for watching here today. It's been a really fun time talking about some movies here. And once again, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys want some more content from us, make sure you subscribe. We'll see you next time. Rock on.
See you later.